Earlier today, The Witcher 3 got a new update, and this is a big one, as this update brings official mod support to The Witcher 3. To go along with this, we got a full suite of modding tools known as RedKit, and of course, modders immediately started implementing new romance features, because, yeah, it's modding. And this all actually is a big deal. RedKit is partially what's used by the devs to create many aspects of The Witcher 3. So these new tools are exactly what was used to develop the game, and as such, many new things, modding-wise, are now possible. Modders are able to create fully custom quests, implement completely custom animations, and more. And we're starting to see some of this right now. These mods have been in closed testing for the last month or so several awesome mods that simply weren't possible before are already here. But that isn't the only thing that's just recently possible. It's now possible to make your room look cooler than ever with this Witcher 3 Lumino display that just recently released. Displays are high-quality metal posters that you can easily swap and rearrange, and they have designs for all of your favorite brands, including The Witcher, which recently got a limited edition Lumino design that will glow in the dark and truly define your room. And if you use my affiliate link down below, you can pick one up for yourself, and I'll even get a bit of a kickback. To commemorate the launch of RedKit, CDPR did a live stream to explain what exactly you can do with this one. And I'm sure that's what many of you are wondering. Okay, cool, we got new mod tools. What are the actual possibilities with these new mod tools? One of the big things is just how much easier this makes the modding process. RedKit massively lowers the barrier to entry with modding. Instead of just relying on a bunch of reverse engineering, now you have official tools with official tutorials being posted. So even if you can't do things like code or don't have much experience making mods, you could kind of just jump into this one and follow a tutorial to create something for yourself. So we'll likely see a nice flood of new mods as many test out these new tools. But also, a bit more specifically, this new tool is incredibly powerful when it comes to creating fully custom quests. You could kind of do this previously, but definitely not as easily and definitely not on this level. With these tools, you should expect full custom quests taking place in totally new areas, just like what we have with Skyrim. I'll even show you an example of one of these a bit later in this video. They make adding or even editing NPCs, quests, and environments just far simpler. And that is one of the interesting parts about these tools. It applies to both editing and creating. I'm sure many of the early change-ups will just be edits on existing systems, as people now have the tools to be able to tweak those systems to their likings. But on top of that, also new systems as well as entirely new quest lines will likely get added into The Witcher 3. And this could even be helpful for screenshot creators out there for creating custom scenes. What is easily one of the coolest mods to drop from this new RedKit is Golden Beyond Hale and Dale. Beyond Hale and Dale is a quest from The Witcher 3's Blood and Wine expansion where you're transported into this fantasy land. And this mod was actually created by one of the original devs behind this expansion. The release version of this world is a vibrant fantasy one, but with this mod, things will be converted into a far more melancholic version that features a setting sun and dying forest, which was reportedly the original design concepted for this part of the expansion, but eventually they switched to the more vibrant fairy tale land. So basically, one of the original devs came back, tried out these new mod tools to give us the original version of this experience, which, while definitely being a far more depressing variant, it's also really cool, and it gives the quest overall a bit of a different undertone. With this recent update, Steam Workshop support was also opened up for The Witcher 3, and on Steam Workshop, you can already find a new quest with Mariska's Wonderland. You'll hear reports of villagers missing, and as you go to investigate, you'll find a mysterious new witch who may transport you to a completely new land. Technically, you could also just win this initial fight, but I wasn't nearly talented enough. But here, you'll be transported to a totally new world space. You'll meet with new NPCs that are voice acted. And there are even some custom pans implemented with this, really showcasing all of the possibilities with RedKit. There's going to be a ton of enemies and explorable areas throughout this region, and of course, several quest stages to find out what exactly is going on here, with a major boss fight to finish things off. If you're coming from the Skyrim side, this may seem very simple. It really is a proof of concept more so than anything else. But at the same time, this is seriously exciting. A lot of what's being done here was either not possible at all before or was incredibly difficult before. And for me, this mod did a really good job at allowing me to picture what could happen. In the not so distant future, we could see not only new and fully custom quests for The Witcher 3, but potentially even edits to other existing quests. Maybe one mod author didn't really love how one or another quest ended off and wants to change that up a little bit, and actually, yeah, we're starting to see that already. Yeah, quest editing is really one of the biggest parts of RedKit. As the new mod Quest Tweaks will edit various quests in the game to make their missable aspects unmissable. So during the mysterious passenger quest, you're typically blocked if you complete the Baron story beforehand. So if you completed that aspect of the game, you just couldn't access this quest anymore, but no longer. Now this will be a fully independent quest that can be completed after finishing the Baron's act of the game. During one of the main quests in The Witcher 3 with Get Junior, there are 3 casino players that you're able to go up against, but as you actually do this quest, you're only ever able to actually play 2 of them. The third one will always be locked because once you complete 2, you'll just be able to move to the next stage of the quest. This mod changes that, so now you'll be able to experience all 3 of these casino players before continuing to the next stage of the quest. Or what may be my favorite of these changes, you're now able to explore the Unseen Elder's cave even after the associated quest is complete. Typically, once you revisit this cave, the Unseen Elder will just immediately kill you. But with this mod installed, if you have the magic key, you can actually survive this initial attack. And after, as long as you brought some potions, you can heal up and fully explore this cave, giving you the avenue to get some of the missing armors or other items that you may have just left here. This mod overall will bring a few other tweaks to other quests in the game, but just in general, you can really see the power of this one. This is after a couple of weeks of work, because the RedKit's only been even in closed testing for a few weeks now. Give it a few months and you could totally see much larger changes to some of the existing quests in game, potentially even alternate endings. Although one of the potential issues you'll see with this all is the voiced protagonist. This is a major issue we have with Fallout 4 modding where, yeah, the protagonist is speaking, and having custom voice lines then becomes quite problematic because how do you get that protagonist voice back? Thankfully, there are a bunch of other mods that don't have this problem, like a variety of new rideables that were implemented, new mounts for The Witcher 3. You can get a whale boat of your own and cruise around in true style, or perhaps for you, Tamira is a more suitable mount, although this one is not nearly as fast as some of the alternative options in game. But what I found to be easily the coolest and most functional of the existing options is a rideable griffin mount. This is a proper mount they are able to purchase and eventually call in, and while walking around, the griffin will just stay on the ground. The second you start sprinting, you can immediately become airborne and fly around. Although this one can get a little bit glitchy while you're actually on the ground, or especially when you're landing, outside of that, it is super functional and genuinely quite fun. Even when the griffin's just sitting there waiting for you to mount it, it's kind of mean mugging you and does have this presence that I kind of enjoy. And yeah, if you've always wanted to fly around The Witcher 3, this is a fairly immersive and practical way to do that. This mod, of course, only possible thanks to the RedKit. But of course, like I mentioned in the intro to this one, it is modding. So shortly after the release of these new modding tools, we also got the release of Memory of Making Love. With this mod, you'll be able to re-experience the many iconic love scenes from The Witcher 3 by putting on the Mask of Ouroboros, and then using the Witcher sense at the location where that love scene originally occurred. And from there, you'll basically transition into re-experiencing that love scene fully and properly. And honestly, as far as romance mods go, this is a pretty awesome implementation. It's pretty lore friendly. I know there's quite a few of you out there that probably do want to re-experience some of these love scenes, and this is really a great avenue for re-implementing that. But of course, it also makes you wonder, well, how much can they add to this, especially since you can add new animations into The Witcher 3 now? And one of the other pretty cool benefits of this overall update is we've seen some of the other existing mods for The Witcher 3 come to the new Steam Workshop. This is nice because for a lot of players, they're just going to look on the Steam Workshop and not even bother with Nexus. Two of the handy mods already on there are things like Blood Trails. This will make it so as your sword slices through an enemy, it'll show a visible trail of blood in the sky, and this will also apply to attacks that land on you, as well as glowing Witcher eyes, which will make it so the Witcher's eyes will actually glow in dark areas, like it's portrayed in a lot of other forms of media, but surprisingly not in the game, or at least it was that way until you downloaded this mod. And really, this is just the beginning. Now that these new modding tools are out there, I expect a flood of new content to come to this game over the next few weeks. CDPR mentioned that they're going to be running modding contests for this game, which will likely lead to a large influx of new mods. Naturally, I'm sure a lot of these will be relatively simple or new mods from people who are just trying out mod tools for the first time, but you also have to imagine some of these people will stick around to continue making mods for the next several months to years, as The Witcher 3 likely takes on a bit of a second life as we get some epic mods in the future. There's definitely some uncertainty as to how big this will get considering how old The Witcher 3 is already, but the game already had a very dedicated modding scene, so I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of those modders just come back to see what's possible now. And if any of those modding contests end up having serious amounts of money behind them, that will only stir things further. I know a lot of you are probably wondering, well, what about Cyberpunk 2077? Could we see the same mod tools go to that game? And maybe? As far as I can tell, this has never been ruled out, but has also never been officially mentioned or confirmed. The two games have very different engines, as many updates were added for Cyberpunk 2077, so perhaps at some point in the future, but I definitely wouldn't expect that anytime soon. With that said, if you want to keep up to date with whatever's going on with The Witcher 3 modding, get subscribed, because I'll definitely be making content around all of this. But if you are looking for some epic mods right now, check out this video for some DLC-sized mods you can download for Fallout 4.